Sometime after that incident, we began to move to Nagaoka in Nagareyama, a mansion east of Edo. Oh god. Shimosanokuni, a region east of Edo. Currently, it is known as the northern section of the Chiba prefecture. Oh. Kondo-san had become reluctant to go into battle, but after several talks with Hijikata-san, he was eventually convinced otherwise. Until we'd finish our preparations for our journey to Aizu, we would be training in Nagareyama. Oh, this is gonna hurt. Saito was visiting some place named Ichikawa, where he would be training to use new modern armaments. I can read. No. Ichikawa, the location of Shimosa's provincially run government. Shogunate forces used this as a base of operations before fleeing to Aizu. Sanan-san and Heisuke had left with the Fury Corps along the Utsunomiya route to Aizu, since they couldn't go to the Kaneko mansion.
Yukimura senpai, 局長はどこですか?
Oh, Kondo-san is in his room reading a book. Is something the matter?
いえ、特に用事ってわけじゃないんですけど。
Nomura had a peculiar look on his face, as if there was something on his mind.
局長はもしかして新政府軍と戦う気力をなくしてしまったのかなって。
Well, I don't think that's the case. I wouldn't say that he's completely lost his will to fight. Nomura seemed hesitant to respond as he stayed silent for a moment, but eventually...
そうっすよね。局長はあの土方副長が尊敬している方なんですから。きっとすぐに元の局長に戻るに決まってますよね。すいませんでした。変なことを聞いて。
With that, Nomura quickly scurried off, entering the side of the building. He raised a good point, though. Ever since we had arrived here, Kondo-san seemed like a different person. The ambitious fire in his eyes grew a little dimmer. He would either lock himself up in his room, or he'd spend time reading or contemplating in the garden. But I held onto the sliver of hope that his confidence was only a little deflated from the defeat in Kofu. I knew that surely his confidence would soon be restored and would return to his usual self. Kondo-san, I brought you some tea.
Arigatou.
He paused in the act of flipping a page to smile up at me. What are you reading?
三国志演義に清正記に軍記物の読み物ばかりだな。
Always expect romance of the Three Kingdoms. The biography of Kiyomasa, a biography of Kiyomasa Kaito, a military commander during the Warring States periods. War Chronicle, a story that details the exploits of warriors and daimyo, I can't say that correctly for some reason, daimyo, who had served in the Warring States period, organized and woven as a comprehensive narrative.
もう暗唱できるくらい読み込んだんだが、何度読み返しても新たな感動があってな。子供の頃は思ってたもんだよ。いつか関西帝君みたいに立派な武将になって、自分ではない誰かのために戦おうって。
Kansei Teikun, a general who had served under Liu Bei? A Chinese warlord who lived during the late Han dynasty. This name was bestowed upon him as a gesture of defecation? He grinned like a young boy, but after a moment, the grin faded.
願うだけでは名将にはなれんのだな。それに気づくのがちと遅かったようだ。
He shut the book softly, not shockily, softly, and set it down on top of his desk. What are you talking about? You've only just begun. But he didn't even seem to hear me.
トシはどうしている？
I think he's up in his room, writing something. Probably orders for Saito-san. He's off in Ishikawa right now, you know.
そうか。トシには無理ばかりさせてるな。
I don't think he's pushing himself too hard. And nothing makes him happier than being able to help you. That's just the kind of guy he is.
すっかりトシの交渉役が板についている。あいつのことをよくわかってるじゃないか。
You think so? You seem quite serious about it, and I felt my cheeks getting warm. That's right. Back when I first got here, I was supposed to be his page or something.
そうだな。まさかこんなに長い付き合いになるとはあいつも予想してなかっただろう。
Before I knew it, we were reminiscing about the time we'd spent in Kyoto. Back then, we never could have guessed what the Sacho Alliance would take, that the Sacho Alliance would take control of the imperial court or reinstate the emperor. There were many challenges we faced, but I thought we'd continue our lives as they were in Kyo. But I know things will work out. Hijikata-san will get us through this. He responded with a melancholy laugh.
だがな、雪村君。俺はそれも酷じゃないかと思うんだよ。
What do you mean? Before he could answer, the door slid open with a snap, and Hijikata and Shimada ran in, their faces tense and drawn. Hijikata-san, what's happened?
すぐ逃げる準備をしてくれ。ここは敵に囲まれてる。
Ah, shit. What?
敵兵は2、300はいます。奴らに気づかれないよう裏口からここに入ってきました。
せめて桁が一つ少なきゃどうにかできたんだがな。
Hijikata-san worked his lip and glanced out the window, frustrated and tense.
今からじゃ斎藤たちを呼び戻す時間もね。俺が何とかするしかなさそうだ。島田、それから雪村、近藤さんを連れて先に逃げてくれ。
What? Hijikata-san, not even you can take on that many people. And it's daytime out there.
そんなのやってみなきゃわかんねえだろ。
Man has a death sentence.
しかし相手は銃を主体とした部隊です。
Both Shimada and I moved toward the door in an effort to physically stop Hijikata-san if it came to that. Kondo-san was in quiet contemplation, since Hijikata-san and Shimada had entered, but now he finally spoke.
待ってくれ。トシがそこまでする必要はない。俺が向こうの本陣へ行くよ。
This moment.
何を言ってやがる。みすみす死にに行くようなものじゃねえか。
もちろん新選組の近藤だとは名乗らんよ。偽名を使って別人になりすますつもりだ。俺たちは旗本でこの辺りを警備してる鎮圧部隊だと言えばごまかせるだろう。お前たちが逃げる時間くらいは稼げるはずだ。
Shimada and I were both shocked into silence, but not Hijikata-san.
バカかあんた。 あいつらがそんな甘い連中だと思ってんのか。今日で散々見てきたじゃねえか。奴らが俺たちを恨んでねえはずがねえ。すぐに気づかれて捕まえられるに決まってるだろう。
仮に捕まってしまったとしても、俺はもう大名の位をもらってるんだぞ。そう簡単に殺されはしないさ。
あんたは甘いんだよ。幕府からもらった身分なんて奴らには毛ほどの価値もねえ。殺されちまうのが分かってるのにみすみす行かせられるはずがねえじゃねえか。
No matter what Hijikata-san said, Kondo-san's expression didn't change. He only gazed back at him, his expression cool and placid.
お前が何を言っても無駄だ。もう決めてしまったことだからな。
Hijikata-san began to shake. In all the time I've been with the Shinsengumi, I'd never seen Hijikata-san and Kondo-san act like this before. Usually it was Hijikata-san who kept a cool head, and Kondo-san who succumbed to his emotions. But this time...
ふざけんじゃねえ。大将のあんたがいなくて何が新選組だ。俺はあんたを引きずってでも連れて行くからな。今さら逃げ出すなんて許すもんかよ。あんたの命はもうあんた一人のものじゃねえんだ。
Hijikata-san was screaming at Kondo-san, his white-knuckled fist gripping the front of the other man's kimono, and his eyes red with held-back tears. But his fury and pleas broke across Kondo-san's impassable calm, like wind against a mountain.
ならばこれは命令だ。島田君と雪村君を連れて市川の隊と合流せよ。
Hijikata-san stumbled back a step, shocked by the force of Kondo-san's voice.
俺に命令するのか、あんたが。何に合わねえ真似してんだよ。
His eyes were still dry, but his voice trembled.
局長の命令は絶対なんだろう。大使たちに切腹や羅刹化を命じておいて、自分たちだけは特別扱いか。それが俺たちの望んだ武士の姿か。
Oh, God. Hijikata-san said nothing. As long as he'd been commander, Hijikata-san strove to lead by example. He lived by the code and demanded others to do likewise to groom the Shinsengumi into true samurai. No doubt Kondo-san had counted on that fact. He meant to use it to keep Hijikata-san alive.
島田君、雪村君、トシと一緒に早く逃げてくれ。もたもたしていると連中が押し入ってくるぞ。そうなると俺が投降する意味がなくなってしまう。
He gave Shimada and me a little shove to get us moving, and Shimada turned to look at Hijikata-san. For a moment, he said nothing.
副長、行きましょう。
Hijikata-san didn't move. He only stood, chewing at his lip until Kondo-san laid his hands on his friend's shoulders and gave him a warm smile.
なあ、トシ。そろそろ楽にさせてくれないか。
Listen, I knew it was coming. I knew this was coming. I knew it was coming a mile fucking away. But this hurts.
Ugh. 俺を担ぎ上げるために 昼も夜もなく働いて、あちこち走り回って、しまいには羅刹にまでなってしまって、そんな姿を見てる方が俺は辛いんだ。俺はお前にそこまでしてもらうほどの男じゃないからな。
Hijikata-san didn't look up. He blinked rapidly, trying to hold back tears, and stared desperately at the floor. Then he swallowed, and when he spoke, his voice was tight and strained.
俺のしたことは何だったんだ。侍になってお上に仕えて戦に勝ち続けて、そうすりゃあんたは一緒に喜んでくれるんだとばかり。
From Hijikata-san's mouth came an outpouring of dejection, not unlike how Kondo-san was after the defeat at Kofu Castle.
すまないな。お前にそこまでさせたのはこの俺だ。俺がお前を追い詰めたんだ。思えば儚い夢だったな。侍でも何でもない俺たちが腰に刀を刺してご公儀のために働いてたなんて。
His voice was warm, but it seemed that very kindness made it even harder for Hijikata-san. Hijikata-san took a deep breath and squeezed his eyes shut, willing the tears to go away. The room was silent before he finally spoke.
島田、残った大使たちに伝令だ。逃走経路も確保しとかねえとな。
はい。
雪村、お前はここで待ってろ。支度が済んだらすぐ呼びに来る。
Hi. With that, Hijikata-san and Shimada left, and Kondo-san and I were alone. He reached into his kimono and pulled something out.
雪村君、これを持って行きなさい。
Huh? He handed me a small cloth bag. It clinked as he laid it in my hand. What is it?
逃亡資金だ。君には何もしてやれなかったからな。せめてもの気持ちだ。受け取ってくれ。
Oh my god. Kondo-san! Oh god. Oh. How could he be so kind when his situation was so grim? His warmth still lingered on the bag as I took it. I felt a lump rise in my throat.
今ならまだ間に合うはずだ。都市には言っておくから、ここを出たら松本先生を頼ってどこかに逃げなさい。いくら薩長でも君のような女子にまでひどい真似はしないだろう。我々と関わったことは忘れて、好いた男と結婚して静かに暮らしなさい。それが女にとっての幸せだと思うよ。
Oh my god! Oh god, Kondo-san! What should I say? Oh my god. Oh my god. This man! I want to go with Hijikata-san. I appreciated Kondo-san's kind gesture, but I shook my head. No, I won't run. I want to go with Hijikata-san. I'm his page. I bit my lip, afraid that if I said any more, I might cry. Bitch, I'm already crying. Instead, I looked up at Kondo-san and did my best to smile. His eyes were warm as he looked down at me.
そうか。トシはいい部下に恵まれたな。トシのことをこれからもよろしく頼むよ。
I tried to respond, but the lump in my throat made any sort of speech impossible.